100% entertainment, 100% electricity, 100%.
Pipebomb Radio with your host, Felix Olmedo.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
And Austin James.
That's the bottom line. From stone to stone.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's this Tuesday afternoon. It's kind of weird for me to say, considering we're usually on Wednesday night. 2 Wednesday nights. I am way off today. Hello, folks. Welcome to Pipebomb Radio. You're joined by your hosts, myself, of course, Felix, and Austin. Conspicuous by his absence would be the one and only Mr. Nate Milton. He is actually going to be gone this week. We apologize for those who are fans of Nate. I know Austin definitely is a fan. He will have to miss this week. What's that?
That's an understatement. Mr. Nate Milton is very good at what he does. My God, does he have a voice of just that manly voice that you can just hear just radiates off of the walls. Jesus Christ. It's going to be a good one tonight. Well, not tonight. Well,
yes,
4
sir.
PM.
Yes, sir. And it's going to be an even better one next week, but we'll get into that later in the show.
Oh, my God.
Today, woo, Mercy Daddy. We're going to be welcoming WWE Hall of Famer. I don't know if I said it as good as I did last week, but
no.
I think I did better last week, but that's okay.
No, nobody can do it like Jimmy Valiant.
No, you're right. You're right. The one and the only. He was known as Handsome Jimmy Valiant. He was known as the Boogie Woogie Man. And, you know, the man is over 70 years old, and he still wrestles. Can you believe
50
that?
years of experience. Over 50 years of experience. He's been everywhere and back.
He's been back and forth and then some. He is the WWE Hall of Famer, and he has got a book out. We're going to touch on that, but also we're going to touch on, as Austin said, his 50-year career that he continues to take part in, and quite the innovator he was for setting this, paving the road for guys to really be good talkers. He was one of the best, and still does it even now.
Most definitely. And he's running his school up in, I believe, Virginia, the Jimmy Valiant School of Wrestling. And, I mean, the way he treats his kids over there is amazing. I mean, he'll take anybody on. And that's how they just show how much of a family atmosphere they have up there in Virginia. I've been looking forward to going and actually see it one day because, he has the entire wall stood up with pictures of his career from, so many of the battles that he's been in. It's amazing. You guys need to check it out on JimmyValiant.weebly.com for all the information.
Yes, sir. I was just looking over some of his pictures early this morning before I was getting ready for work, and my goodness, I didn't realize it until I had seen it. But I knew he was obviously he's got his wrestling school, but he actually still wrestles, and that was what's tripping me out. I'm like, oh my God, this dude don't even have to. He just continues, and mainly because he still loves it. But he's got quite a story to tell and share with us, and I will be calling him here in just a moment to talk about all that and then some. And then I can't wait to tell you guys who's going to be joining us next week.
I'm going to say about the person who's going to be joining us next week. And if you've done something bad to somebody in your life, you probably encountered this person or this thing or this being. If you've done something back, basically what goes around comes back around. That's all I'm going to give for right now.
All right. Without any further ado, we won't keep our guest waiting any longer. We'll be placing a call now to the one and only Mr. Jimmy Valiant. Hopefully I didn't screw this up by dialing it wrong, but it's ringing, so that's a good thing.
Hi.
Yes, may I speak to Mr. Valiant?
You got him, brother.
All righty, Mr. Woo Mercy Daddy.
Yay. Is this Felix?
It is Felix. How you doing?
Okay. Wonderful, brother, man. Are you taping, or are you live, or what are you doing?
We are live and in living color right now.
Oh, right now, brother, man. Well, God bless you, man. Hey, I appreciate you having me on, Felix, and brother, man, hey, anything I can ever do for you, man, hey, I'll be here for you. Just keep my number, my man.
That is, I appreciate you saying that more than you probably will ever know. But Mr. Valiant, I want to introduce you to my co-host. His name is Austin.
Hey, Mr.
Hey, Austin, how you doing, son?
Doing phenomenal. And today we're going to talk about your you're over 50 years of experience, probably even longer than that. I mean, you've been in professional wrestling for quite some time, been around and back.
You bet, Austin. I started wrestling in 1964, and brother, this is 2014. Do the math, man. 50 years. I went, my goodness, over 10,000 matches, and hey, 4 million miles driving on them highways, get in them matches, and you can imagine. And hey, I'm still lacing the boots up, man. I'm going even this Saturday to Rocky Mount at the YMCA, and hey, brother, I'm going to crawl in that square circle and just keep kicking, man. I'm 72 years old. Hey, God, has got His hand on me, brother, and hey, as long as I can do something and just do my thing, brother, man, I'm going to keep cooking.
Well, go ahead and kick it off by talking. As a youngster growing up during the generation in the 50s and the 60s, what really inspired you? You talked about that in your book, but what really inspired you to want to get into wrestling a little bit? Get into wrestling and pursue that as a career.
You bet. Yes, sir, I will. I'll get right into that. And you mentioned my book, and yes, it's the biggest book out there, 582 pages, and weighs 3 pounds, Felix. I tell people, hey, man, buy you 2 copies, put one in each hand, and work out with them, man. And it's called, Woo, Messy Daddy, Welcome My World, the Jimmy Valiant story, man. And yes, my whole life story. And I just came out also, Felix, before I get into your question, with a 50th two-set DVD, man, of my life story, and it follows the book. So I just put that together, man, and it's just out now. And the only way you can get the book or the DVD 50th set, because everything I talk about in my book, a lot of it is on film, and I have it documented on that. And of course, the only way you can get it is through me, and you go to www.jimmyvaliant.weebly, WEEBLY.com. That's jimmyvaliant.weebly.com. And all the information is how to order both of them things, or T-shirts, or anything else you like. And my lovely wife, Angel, she has a wrestling gear, as Angel's Wrestling Wear, and she makes all the boys' outfits, man, masks, tights, trunks, man, robes, hey, headbands, anything you want, she can do, jackets, and of course, and she's a wonderful seamstress, and yes, how I got into it, Felix, and Austin is, I started wrestling, as I said, 1964, and there was no wrestling, camps like I have, man. I just got a tooth pulled today, brother, man. This morning, me and Angel, and so I'm going over, and it's still, doing a little something here. But anyway, this morning, man, I went and number 31 is right next to the wisdom tooth, the biggest tooth in my head, man. They yanked that sucker out, man. But it's all good, brother, man. Getting back, I was always, like it wasn't. We didn't call this backyard like the kids do now. They call it backyard stuff, and of course all the kids. I'm sure you and Austin, has done that and wrestled around, with your buddies, and and I started real young, doing that, and there was no programs in schools at that time. It was completely different. I was born 1942. August 6, 1942, and so in the 50s, man, there was no programs like that, as I talk about in my book. But I started, wanting to build my body. I seen that Charles Atlas course, somewhere in a magazine, man. Build your body. Dynamic tension, and so that changed my life, man. I looked at, changed from a 98-pound weakling to a He-Man, and guys kicking sand. I'm sure you've seen some of the old ads like that. It was Atlas, his name was, and so I asked my dad. I'm like 12 years old. I said, man, how do you do this? How do you build your body? Because I didn't know about gymnasiums or weights. They had none in school. They had nothing like this, So anyway, I started working out, man. He welded a handle on a big ball bearing, and he was a millwright, and he brought that home to me, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I just lifted that thing, man, until my muscles burned, and I'd do some push-up and jump in the bed, man, and I was already wrestling my buddies, and I was so into it, and then finally when I got old enough to drive, I bought a little car, $150, man, for a 47 Ford Coupe, and first thing I went to was the gymnasium, man. I had a little job. I bought my own car, man, and I went the first thing as soon as I got my car, I went to the YMCA and worked out, man, and I was hooked, so then I went on and joined another gymnasium and then a health club, and so when I got in the health club, there was the owner was a old time wrestler, and his name was Frank Zila, but he wrestled under Volkov, and it was Nikolai and Boris Volkov. Now, I'm not talking about the Nikolai Volkov that you all probably remember in the 70s, 80s, and he teamed up with the Iron Sheik, and before that he was one of the Mongols. I've known him since 1970, and that Volkov. But this was the original Nikolai Volkov. His name was Steve Gobb. Yes, and so there was another Volkov, Nikolai Volkov, and Boris Volkov. And the guy that ran the health club, he was Boris. And, man, I started working for him, and then he let me be instructor, and then I worked my way up to manager. And then one day out of the blue, he says, man, you got everything going for you. You're good, you're big, young, you're good body, good hair, you're good looking, you got, everything going for you, man. You should do this pro wrestling. And honestly, this is how I was brought in, and that's the only way you could go in, is someone take you under their wing, and this is what they did for me. And brother, once I started wrestling, which was right away, just weeks, and with I really trained on the job training. I really learned in the ring, and that's how they did, the young boys. And I tell you something, Felix, if I was a wise guy or a smart guy, thought I knew everything, these old timers would have broke your leg or they would have hurt you and got you out of the business, because it was a very close knit family thing, more than ever, man. It was almost impossible to get in unless one of the pros brought you in, not like today. And so there was no schools like I have now, here in Shawsville, Virginia, that me and Angel started in 1992, and we just had our 22nd wrestling graduation
anniversary.
Yes, sir, anniversary.
Oh, okay.
And yes, sir, and hey, I want to invite, while we're on this, I want to invite you and Austin to come any Sunday, and the people listening, and any Sunday, 12 to 4. Here in Shawsville, Virginia, SHAWSVILLE, and be our guest. And this is something I give back to all the wrestling fans. It's been so good to me. Me and Angel, we let you come here, brother, and watch the kids train. I got a Hall of Fame museum here. It's beautiful. As you know, Felix, in the back, you've seen pictures of it. And we've been here 23 years, and open only Saturdays, 4 hours a week. Sundays. I'm sorry, Sundays only, from 12 noon to 4 o'clock. And this is the good part about this: is all free. So once you get here, you pay not a dime. You go, just hang out with the Boogie Woogie man, Handsome Jimmy, and Angel, and watch all the kids, and you've got full access to all the buildings and the museum, the Hall of Fame, and just please come be our guest. And you go again, same website, jimmyvaliant.weebly.com, and there's a map how to get there, and it explains all about our camp. So if you're ever in the great state of Virginia, Shawsville, Virginia, up here by Roanoke, up in the mountains, beautiful. Please come be our guest.
Now, like you were
I
talking
can't
about
thank you enough for autographing my book, but I know Austin has a question for you, so I apologize for cutting you off. Austin, go ahead.
No worries.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Austin. Thank you, Felix. Thank you for the book and the purchase, brother, man, and you're a great cat, man, and thank you, sir. Yes, Austin.
Like you were saying earlier, you were saying, in professional wrestling, you kind of have a small window of success, and you have to kind of find your niche and how to stand out in front of a crowd and make your name known around the world in order to get some, notoriety. How did you find that for yourself? Because as we know now, we're 50 years of experience. You definitely have a good idea of what to do. I mean, Handsome Jimmy knows exactly how to boogie woogie.
You bet. Yes, sir, Austin. And I'll tell you exactly, brother. You hit it on the nose because you had to be a little different, And I found that right away. I was a real lean but muscular kid, and they says, they want you to get big. So they like big guys, years ago. So and they like them today even. But I had the height. And I was a bodybuilder, man, and so I knew how to force feed, and I did. And I hate 6 sandwiches for lunch. I didn't know the diet was, back then I drank a gallon of milk a day. I ate a dozen eggs. Whatever it took, sacrifice, man. You talking about sacrifice, and that's exactly what I did. And I got up to 290, and then I trimmed back down. My whole career, mostly I was about 230, 240. Right now I trim back down because I'm real lean now because why carry all that around with you? I'm 72 years old and, man, I don't want to be 230, 240 now. So I'm back like I was in high school now. I could wear the same pants I wore in high school, so I'm very proud of that. I work hard at it, though, brother. It's a daily thing, man. It's a daily deal, and I stretch a lot, and I eat the right foods, and so I work at it. I work my whole life. I work at it, daily, whatever I'm into. And going back to your question, Austin, first of all, when I was Handsome Jimmy, I was one of the first blondes strutting around. Not the first, now one of the first. I said, okay, that's cool. I was one of the first to get the earrings, man, before it was cool. I had tattoos before it was cool. Everybody's got them now. So I was out there, man, walking around with the bleach blonde hair and strutting around, and then so that was all different. Then in the 80s, Boogie Woogie. Oh, and then I made a music before the 80s. In the late 70s, 77, 78, with Jimmy Hart. I was in Memphis, Tennessee, and we cut a couple records, man, and I was one of the first to come out to music. Not the first. The first was Gorgeous George. He came out very few times. And then in 1970, I went to New York, and my manager, I was Handsome Jimmy. My manager was the Grand Wizard, Ernie Ruff, and he says, I remember this. And he says, this Gorgeous George came out to music. I was the first to come out to music in Madison Square Garden with him managing me. And then we went to, go ahead. And then we went to, so I continue. I remembered that, see? So no one was using music. So then in the 1980, I reinvented myself. And I says, okay, I looked around. I was Ric Flair. There's a lot of blondes, man. Buddy Landell, man. I'm strutting around, So I've done that for already 20 years. So I reinvented myself, and I grew a long beard, and became the Boogie Woogie Man, but always Jimmy Valiant, Handsome Jimmy Valiant, Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant. And I was a crowd pleaser. And I was a character. I didn't change my style. Man, I still pulled hair and gouged eyes and hit them with cheers. And the only thing is I'd be working, wrestling the nasty guys. And referees say, hey, did you pull his hair? And I said, ask the people. And they said, no, man, Boogie didn't pull no hair, So they lied for me. And so I was a character, And then also, Austin, I started going out to music. Nobody was using music. This was Charlotte, North Carolina, the Crockett Corporation. And, brother, I came out to music, and that gets you jumping. Now, you know, you hear music, man, the little kids will get up and dance, you know. And Grandma and Grandpa would be dancing, man, in them aisles, you know. So it was something no one was doing. You got to be different. You got to be different. So then I said, what else can I do? So I started hugging, started kissing. Man, I kissed everybody, man. If Grandma, Grandpa, children, baby, you know, it didn't matter if green, black, blue, purple. I didn't matter who. I kissed everybody, man. You know, going to the ring and coming back. You know, nobody did that. Probably nobody wanted to do that. But there's three things. I came out to music. You know, started, you know, dancing and kissing people, you know, and grew up with a long beard. And nobody had a long beard, you know, except the wolf man or the bear man or something, you know. And so it was all completely different. Just like today, Austin, if I was up and on top, you know, in the big light again, you know, now everybody comes out to music, you know. Every match comes out to music, even in independent shows, all music, you know.
I think
so what to be different, what I would do, I'd come out to no music. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be different, brother. Yes.
It feels like it changes.
You got to be noticed.
It like makes an aura when the music's playing. It makes everybody kind of feel, you know, inside. There's something like a trigger that goes off, and I know it's just a little thing. But, I mean, music in professional wrestling, I think, is essential now. Not necessarily, but, you know, I think it adds all to the aura of the environment that creates a show.
Sure. And they know who it is. As soon as the music hits, the people know who's going to walk out. And it does. It sure does. But, you know, again, you know, to be different, man, hey, I just walk out to no music. I do something. I walk backwards. I do something. Walk on my hands. I figure out something, man. You know, to be different, to be noticed, and of course, you know, hey, now you know I'm just independently and working, you know, with the kids, man. You know, from camp and I go around the country and you know, whatever they want me to do, I don't care. Hey, I'll wrestle, man. I'll referee. I'll you know, be a manager. I'll be their commissioner for the night. I'll rip tickets. I'll pop popcorn. Hey, I'll sweep the floor, brother, man. Hey, it don't matter. Whatever they have for me to do, man, you know, hey, I'll do that. That's what my whole life is. Me and Angel is professional wrestling.
And I wanted to include, because I know you touched on, there's so many people that you've gone and worked with, whether it be managers or people that you've wrestled. A topic I wanted to touch on was some of the all-time great managers that you've had the opportunity to work with. You've worked with Bobby the Brain Heenan. You've worked with, like you said, you worked with Ernie Roth. And then I believe you were in, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I believe I've seen that you were inducted by Captain Lou.
Captain Lou, you bet. Yes, yeah, Captain Lou, him and Johnny, and we were all inducted in WWE Hall of Fame, 1996. And, man, 18 years ago, I guess, and almost 19 years ago. And so it was one of the early classes, and I'm very fortunate to you know, I'm honored. And yes, Captain Lou was Johnny and my manager, and it was a great ride, man. You know, I worked for 3 times in New York, 1970 and 1974, and then in 78. And all for Vince McMahon Sr., you know. The Vince McMahon you see today, that's Junior, that's his son. And, of course, the first time I came in, 1970, to work New York, Handsome Jimmy Valiant, that's Vince Jr. was still in college, or he wasn't part of it at that time. And I came back in 74 with Johnny, and the first time was when Ernie Roth, the Grand Wizard, managed me. But the second time, he sold my contract, and then we signed Johnny as the Valiant Brothers, Luscious Johnny and Handsome Jimmy, and we won the WWF Tag Team World Tag Team Champ straps, and held them at that time the longest ever. It was like 14 months, 15 months. and I'm sure the people's had them longer by now, but at that time it was a record. But we at that time, then Vince was Junior, the one now, God bless him. He was commentating and doing interviews and TV stuff, and then in '78 he was doing the same, and then of course he took over, and man, he just reinvented the whole world, brother, man, and he's cooking. So God bless him and his father, but his dad was the one that I actually worked for, and I was very honored when they put me and Johnny and Captain Lou, and the same class they put Pat Patterson, and also they put Jimmy Snuka and Superfly and Killer Kowalski in 1976. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, you actually had a long time feud. I mean, a really just historic feud with the Masked Assassin. And from then, I mean, they shaved your beard, and he shaved your beard, so you had to take something from him, and you took his mask. Now, my question is to you: do you still have that mask?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
it's under yes, I sure do, and also Charlie Brown, and I have the mask. They're under glass at our museum, Hall of Fame here at BWC, and so anybody comes through can see, and I got thousands. I'm serious. Thousands of pictures collaged on the walls. I got 5 or 6 buildings here on our compound, and we've been putting together for all these years, and it's really a special place here at Boogie's Wrestling Camp Hall of Fame Museum in Shawsville, Virginia. Again, check out jimmyvaliant.weebly.com for address, for instructions, maps, how to get here, and also what you just said, where they took my beard, and I got that all on my 50th wrestling DVD, two sets, a 4-hour set DVD, to a disc, and also it shows me taking his mask off, and it shows everything, man. Everything you read about in the book, Austin, just about all the good angles where Paul Jones shaves my head, man, and all the feud with Jerry Lawler, man, and with Dick the Bruiser, the brother with Bruno Sammartino, man. I mean, wrestling all the greats, and of course, everybody's on there. Steamboat, Wahoo, Piper, Flair, you name it. Anybody in the last 50 years. Not only do I have a story about him in my book, but it's on this 2-set 50th wrestling anniversary DVD. In fact,
now, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I just wanted to mention, was it a possibility that you may even have a story to share about maybe Macho Man Randy Savage? God rest him.
You bet. God bless him. Yes, his soul and his father, man. And Angelo. I wrestled with Angelo in the 60s, and boy, what a big star he was around the Midwest. And you bet. And I rode with Angelo some, to different towns in Ohio and Michigan and Indiana, Illinois, and so because I live right there in Calumet City. They lived in Downers Grove, and a suburb of Chicago. And so he would bring his boys with him some, and he drove a big Mercedes. And I remember Randy and his Lanny, his son, and they would be in the back seat. And maybe they're 10, 12 years old. I don't know, maybe a little younger, 8 or 10. And they're back there. And Randy was a good ball player. Baseball. In fact, he went and played pro. Double A, they signed him, and before he got into wrestling, I don't know if anybody knows, but he was a great ball player, and they had a glove on, they're passing the ball back and forth, so I knew them boys since early teens or earlier even, and he's such a great guy, and he picked my mind because he wanted to build his body, and of course his dad had a great body, and so did Lanny. The whole family did, and all the boys and his dad. But he was picking my mind about this and that, and I always telling him what to eat, and get a blender, man, and put this in there, and do this, do that, and he never forgot it, and through the years, and just a super family, man, just fabulous.
Okay.
Now going, you actually, go ahead. Like you said, your DVD actually made by Elbow Productions. Michael Elliott, who actually produces some of, in my opinion, the best documentaries out there. I mean, he's doing one on Ivan Koloff that's coming out in a couple of months. But he actually is the one who made yours. And I actually watched it. I had the opportunity to watch it. And man, I cannot even tell people who are listening in how much history's on that one DVD. I mean, packed, locked, and loaded. And you guys can get it on jimmyvaliant.weebly.com.
You bet. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. He did a great job. And, I know he's doing one on Harley Race and a Rock and Roll Express, and I was the first that he done, and he's following up with some of the great performer stars in our business, and what a job. You bet. Thank you so much, Austin, for that. Mm-hmm.
No problem. And
I actually wanted to ask. I'm sorry, real quick. I just wanted to ask. Touch on something before I forget to ask. Was there ever, because you're considered one of the greatest talkers, without a doubt, in the history of professional wrestling. What was it that kind of helped you learn really how to have the audience really in the palm of your hands, whether you were a good guy, a bad guy, just out there kissing the babies and the grandparents and everybody else in between? And what was it that you had? You just, how did you talk to people? How did you make them feel what you were saying?
Yeah, well, the whole thing, Felix, is that you have to be born with a certain amount of everything. In order to go all the way, you got to have the total package. And that, of course, is one of our big sellers and big. Because can you imagine just sitting there and you're watching TV on Saturday and morning in Memphis, Tennessee, and Jerry Lawler and me, we're gonna I got a big feud going, and we're gonna do some type of match in a Coliseum Monday night, and you actually talk to them people. They're at home, they worked all day, man, and you talk to them. From coming to that Coliseum, and if it's hot enough, if they want to see something, brother, they'll be there. Lawler was a great talker. Dusty Rhodes. Superstar Billy Graham. So many great talkers. Thanks for saying that, Felix. But you develop your own. Charisma, just like a bodybuilder. If he has big hips and small shoulders, and it don't matter what he does. He could have the greatest body, but he's not going to look like Steve Reeves. Reeves was born with a real narrow hips, and broad shoulders. Even if he never lifted a weight in his life, this is how he was, his structure. It's all DNA. It's all, genes, from your father and your mother, your grandfather, and on. So, in other words, you have to be born with so much of this talent, of this natural talent. They say he's a natural man, but you know what? Then, if you take that, what you got, and then you really hone it, and you work on that thing, and develop it to be, you can, brother, you can really cook, like Steve Reeves, he went, and of course this is one of the first Hercules, and you guys may not know who I'm talking about, but brother, he had it all. He had a total package, and one of the best bodies around. In wrestling, a perfect example was Sailor Art Thomas. He was had the best body in our business, man, and he had that same type, man. Another one, with the small waist and the wide shoulders, and he developed it to full potential. And oh my goodness, he was outstanding, But you got to be born with so much, but then you got to develop it. Yes.
Now, looking back over your 50 years of experience, if there's one person, and I'm not sure if you've wrestled everybody you wanted to, but if there's one person that you didn't have a chance to wrestle, who would that
Austin?
Man be?
Austin, real quick, before
yes.
you finish that question, Austin, we have a surprise for you, Mr. Valiant.
Yes,
we
sir.
have a very good surprise coming for you, and it's somebody you may recognize. I'm going to bring him on
yes.
here, who's been waiting to talk with you.
Wonderful.
You're on air now with Mr. Valiant.
I am the genius full of glory and renown, handsome Jimmy, Boogie Woogie Man. How you doing?
How you do, sir? God bless you, brother, man. We was just talking about your wonderful family, man. Wonderful family.
I'll tell you what, I appreciate that, Jimmy, and my brother and my father, we really loved you very much, and
yes.
I just wanted to clear a little air between us. Because
yes.
In Charlotte, I gave a speech on behalf of my family, the Pafo induction into the Heroes and Legends. And then
yes, sir.
I thought you were in the audience, so I said, I hate
yes.
to introduce somebody in the audience, but handsome Jimmy Valiant, I'd just like to say, please stand up because my brother emulated you and was actually influenced by your charisma. So please stand up. And they said, well, he's not here. I said, well, the hell with him then.
Yes, no, I know, no, it was all good, brother. No, hey, let me tell you, Lanny, hey, I love your son. Yeah, Felix, Lanny's been out here at my camp, man. He was a special honor, and of course, him and his brother, they're all over the walls here at my camp. But the thing was, let me tell you, I was there. And I got man, I just got real cold, and I got chill. I didn't know what happened, and I just started not feeling good, And me and Angel, she took me right up to the roof. Well, sometimes I was just wore out, man. I've been doing that thing for days. And I just yes, sir. But I heard that, and I was trying to see you the next day, and explain and everything. All the boys told me that, Lanny, And I said, oh, God bless, man. Oh, I'm so sorry, and it broke my heart, man, because I would never, And in fact, I seen you earlier, and I just couldn't wait for it, but that's exactly what happened, man. That's the gospel.
That's all right.
Yes, sir. No, sir. I started feeling bad, and I know my body, and I needed to go and rest, and it happened right after we ate. I don't know if it was, I'm not used to eating all that lunch stuff and all that anyway, and Lanny, because I eat real clean, and I don't know if it was something, but all of a sudden I had the walking pneumonia and a boogie woogie flu, man, and really, but I apologize, brother, and I was trying to look for you the next day. Oh, they told me all that. Hey, brother, and thank you for all that, and I put you over in my book, Lanny. I said you're the greatest poet, man. You're the greatest, what you do. What you did in our business, and of course your brother, and your father and mom. I just love your family just so much, brother.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, but I just wanted to let you know that when I found out that you weren't in the audience, I had a little fun at your expense, and I wanted to clear the air between us.
No, I laughed at it. I did. Hey, they told me that, and then my kids, I had a lot of kids from camp there, and they were in the audience and all that too. and in fact, they said someone else mentioned me up there. You know, the young kid with the mask. I forgot what his name was. That from North Carolina that I was an influence on. They said that was up there talking. You know, shoot, I can't remember his name, but no, Lanny, brother, man, God bless you, brother. Because I remember talking to you earlier that day, and I just couldn't wait. I couldn't. But boy, that thing hit me like a bomb, man, and I had to go, man. You know, and I know you would understand because you know you were with Angelo. You know, of course, right there. You know, all the way up to the end. That wonderful man. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just saw on YouTube a match between you and Pampero Firpo that must have been your first match ever.
Yes.
Wow.
Man. Yeah. Jeez.
And I'll tell you what, I didn't recognize you at all.
No.
Especially you were greener than green. And
oh yes.
Of course, Pampero Firpo was one of the best interviews in our business. But,
yes.
But in the ring, he wasn't going to give you a lot of leadership.
Of course not. No, he was there to get over, and yes, sir.
No stake, but
you know, I just told Felix and Austin, Lanny, that you know the whole thing is that I learned. I was in the ring in about 4 or 5 weeks. I talk about in my book, and the whole thing was we actually learned in the ring, and that's how, because there was no schools, you know, like later. You know, later on there was, you know, the Bob Sabre opened one in around Chicago, and then of course in Detroit, you know, that one man shoot 1,000 holes. What was his name?
Louis
he
Klein.
opened. Yes, Klein. Klein had a school, and then of course then Gagne, of course, had a school, you know, and then they took off, you know, and started training. But yeah, I had no training at all. Just Frank Zila helped me a little, and of course Bobby Manigoff, one of the greats. In fact, he was world champion in 1942, and the year I was born, and you know the NWA world champion, and he was. But it's all verbal and really there was no ring. First ring that I ever was in, I walked in. You know, it was my first match. And that was with Billy Gills and Johnny Gilbert in Chicago at the St. Andrews Gymnasium, North Side, and my goodness, brother Ben, and yep, boy, your dad, and I remember Angelo, you know, him and Chris Markoff is the Devil's Duel, man, and you know, man, these guys were red hot, man, in Chicago Amphitheater and Hammond, Indiana, and all around,
and I'll
yes,
tell you
sir.
something, Jimmy, it didn't take you long, and then you left Chicago, and then when you came back, you wrestled Vern Gagne in the amphitheater and sold the place out.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
I'm sure that had to give you a feeling of a little bit of revenge.
Oh, you bet. You know, and not only that, Lanny, you know, I was so fortunate to be able to work with the greatest guys, and you know, including your family and the territories, and you know what was a real thrill, which I was raised in Hammond, Indiana, and when I was a young boy, I used to shoot marbles and play basketball, and they had a big swimming pool downstairs in the basement of the Hammond Civic Center, and this was like our rec center, you know, they have now everywhere for towns and or boys club. This was like to get the kids off the street, and I remember going over there 8, 9, 10, 12, you know, just playing and doing stuff, and so that's where I grew up and you know, did stuff, and what thrilled me, you know, more than you know, working in Madison Square Garden or the Cow Palace in San Francisco or you know, Philadelphia, you know, Spectrum or wherever, you know, Boston Gardens, you know, is when I came back and worked with Pepper Gomez and Dick the Bruiser and you know, everybody right there in my hometown. Handsome Jimmy Valiant. They didn't know, that was me, that I was born. In fact, I went to high school, Hammond Tech, right next to it almost, in Soul Avenue. And no one recognized me because I changed and, and had the blonde hair and and we sold that out, and that was the biggest thrill of my life. Because they didn't even know, they hated me, they boo, oh man, go back to New York, they didn't know that I was right there, hometown boy.
The boy from New York City is actually
yes, sir.
Yeah, from the tri-state area.
Yes, sir.
Actually, Terry Dory and Herman Funk were from Hammond, Indiana, also. Did you know that?
You bet. Yes. Yes, they were, and their grandfather was the police chief there in Hammond, and in fact, Herman was a policeman in Hammond. You're right, and then Dory and them, and also the promoter in San Francisco, Shires, Roy Shires, was from Hammond. That's another Hammond boy, and then he went out and man did great out there. Of course. It teamed up with years ago. Teamed
Ray
up with Patterson and Stevens, Ray Stevens. But then, of course, it became the promoter, and me and Johnny, we went out there and worked for him for 9 months around 1976 in San Francisco. But he was another Hammond boy. But the Funks did great, man. They moved on to Amarillo. Lanny and man, oh brother, what another family, just like the Poffos, that they all did just great, and there's great guys, and just made the great money, big stars, just like you all.
Well, I went to Amarillo in 1975. And
75.
For some reason, Terry Funk really befriended me. And,
oh man.
And I had the opportunity to listen to his take on the business, and I'll never forget the advice he gave. He said, Lenny, he says, there's a lot of good workers, but if you really want to make it, you're going to have to be peculiar. Because nobody's going to pay money to see somebody just like themselves. They want to see somebody that's a little peculiar. He says, that's where the money is, and if you want to get over, that's how you do it. He says, I can't tell you how, but there's more than one way to skin a cat, but just keep it in mind, you got to be peculiar.
And you did that, brother. You did that. You came out, with the graduate gown on and did your poems and yes, and just like your brother, man, he was all different. I just told Austin and Felix, you got to be different, and peculiar. Exactly, you got to be, to stand out. And I just gave him some of what I did that was different, and exactly. And you all did it, and your father did it. Your father was so much beyond ahead of his time, And I talk about in this book. He has the record, for sit-ups, And I remember when you all had your company there in out of Kentucky, and I remember I wasn't there. I was in Memphis, but we heard that Angelo started doing sit-ups during the whole program, and he did the whole program, man. And they had that little shot on him, so you can see he actually doing it. And he, oh man, what shape always, I can just, Lanny, I can close my eyes right now and just see your father, man, in Hammond Civic Center, and in a match with Johnny Case or someone, and he's got him in a leg scissor, and Angelo will start doing the kick out, trying to kick out, and man, he'd do maybe 20 times, And I know what he's doing, man. He's working out, man. You know what I mean? Oh, it just thrilled me, man. Yeah, can't you just see that? Can you picture that, man? He'd go do it so many times. He never could get out, and then he'd rest up, like he's pooped. He wasn't pooped, brother, because he could have did 5,000 of them, And then he'd go again, and then he'd act like he's real tired, boy. But what a conditioned athlete your father was.
Here's a little story. My father just started out in the business. It's 1952, and Randy was just being born on November 15th of 1952. My father was working for Al Heft in Columbus, Ohio, and he was getting discouraged. And, you know, in this business, you can get discouraged when you're not really making any money.
Right.
And since he was a college graduate and so was my mother, they were thinking maybe it'd be better if they were just school teachers instead of wrestling. So then Gorgeous George comes into the territory for 2 weeks, and they're taking him around, and my father tells him, he says, I'm thinking about quitting and getting into school teaching. And Gorgeous George says, you're out of your mind. You've got a lot of charisma. Why don't you just give it a chance? And because Gorgeous George told my father that, this is George Wagner, the one and only Gorgeous George.
You bet.
My father stayed in the business, and a few years later, he's doing very, very well. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. My father did not know that Gorgeous George fell on hard times. But in 1963, when George passed away, he couldn't even bury himself. So my father paid the bill and gave him a good Christian funeral.
Oh, man.
And he was even able to put, you know, and then George was buried in the casket with the blonde hair and the robe, you know, so he could go out with his gimmick.
Right.
So, you know, it's
man.
Something that, you know, God puts people in your life.
Yes.
And I want to thank you, Jimmy, for being in my life. And if
God
brother
bless
were here, you always encouraged him, and my father always encouraged you, because you know,
yes,
there were times when you were starting, and everybody needs a boost.
You bet. And you know something, Randy. Again, your brother in Puerto Rico. I was going through a rough time, and you know, and he's in his prime, man, and he says, "Come on, Jimmy, let's go to the gym, man." And I said, "Oh, brother, man, you know." And you know what? He talked me going in, and he got me back working out again. There was a time in my life, which I talk about in my book, man, you know, and I just got away from training and all this stuff, and he gave me what he helped me like I helped him as a young boy, and coming up in the business, he talked me back into the gym, and you know what, and it was a blessing, man. It was a return, you know, that we did for each other, and that's what it is. That's what it's all about, you know, was family, and such a tight-knit group we have, you know, and we still have, you know, especially all the old-timers, you know, and I talk about in my book, your father, you know, I was going to leave Calumet City and go on the road the first time, leaving Bruiser and Addictive Bruiser territory, and going to with Bill Watts and Oklahoma. Yes. And I called your father, and I says, Angelo, man, I says, you know, I'm leaving. And he's, oh, good luck, Jimmy. Good luck, son. Man, yes, do it. And he was so excited for me. I said, Angelo, I got a favor. I said, I don't even know if you still got it, but man, I know, you know, when you and Markoff was together, you had that red sequence with thousands of them sequins sewed on that jacket, and it just shined under them lights, you know. And I says, and I remember Markoff had a green one, he had the red one, and I says, brother, I need a new look. I need something really that could catch people's eyes, just like you was talking about, you know, something different. And I says, because I just had a plain little jacket, you know, I was walking out to the ring, and I says, man, I'd be honored, man, to buy that if you're not using it, sir, and bump. And he says, Jimmy, he says, I have it. He says, I want you to have it. And I says, yes, sir. What? How much, sir? How much? He sold that to me, Lanny, for $25, brother. $25. And I want to tell you, it just, hey, I almost cried, man. And we were leaving just in 2 days, you know, and I went and got him, met him, and he gave me that jacket, and I was so proud. And oh man, it did the work. Man, I walked out there, brother, and you know how it looked under lights and how it was, and oh my goodness. And hey, I'll never forget that, my man. Yes, sir, son.
Well, he knew that you were going to Oklahoma and you're going to make $3,000 a week, miles.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. 300, man. Yep, you got it, brother, man. God bless you. Yeah.
That's a long trip. Some long trips out there, wasn't it?
You bet. Yes, it was. It sure was. Yep. Mhm. And I only stayed there. You know how it was. I stayed there 3 months, and Pletchus used to come in, bring the Dallas, Texas boys in to do TV for Leroy McGurk, you know, in Oklahoma City, and he spotted me, and you know, and I'm just working in the middle, you know, and just trying to learn my trade, and he told Fritz about it, and so Jardine was there, the spoiler in Tulsa, and so of course he worked a lot and for Fritz, and Fritz called Jardine and says, hey, that new kid, that big kid, that blonde, the Valiant, you know, Valiant. I was going as Jimmy the Body Valiant then. He says, give him my number, have him call me. So I called the boss and there, and they wanted me to come in. So I talked to Leroy, and, you know, he says, sure, go on. So we made another move, and I got there for Fritz, and Fritz is actually the one that named me, you know, because Johnny Valentine was there, and he was their big star, of course, and he looked at me and said, I got to change your name because, you know, Jimmy the Body Valiant is too close to Johnny Valentine, and he looked at me in the office the first day, in 3 minutes, he says, your name is Handsome Jimmy Valiant. Boom. And that stuck, man. And I stayed there 2 months, and God bless the Vince McMahon called, and his exact words was, hey, I need a young, good-looking kid, and this is what Fritz told me, and boom, boom. Next thing I know, man, I'm in New York City. But so that's how it. Right place, right time. You know, right people, and hey, that's what makes the world go around, man. And it just happened for you. You know, for your father, you know, the right time with Gorgeous George, you know, hey, talk to him as, hey, don't give it up, son, don't give up, and hey, just like when Randy talked to me, come on, Hansel, come on, man, let's go to the gym, and you know, I said, oh man, you know, because we shared a room there in Puerto Rico, and you know, we were there for 3 or 4 days, and the first day I didn't go, man, but the next 2 days I was right with him, man, and I was ready to go the third day. I said, hey, man, let's go train, man. So, hey, you know, he did the favor, brother, that I did years ago, and hey, we're all family, Lanny.
Well, I feel good about, you know, I just wanted to address you about what happened in Charlotte.
No, brother, yes, sir. Thank you.
But you know what?
And I look for you all the next day, too. I look for you. I wanted to tell you, too.
I'll tell you what. It
yes,
did
sir.
get over, though. I mean, I meant it
yes.
to be a joke. It did
oh,
get
Big
over.
Pop. Oh, yeah. Hey, and Lanny, brother, I don't care what, man. Hey, we're brothers, and there's nothing you could do that would, you know, in my mind, brother, you know, if you love a person, you know, and love this man, you know, like I do you, son, you know, hey, people could say they could knock you or do anything. It go in one ear right out the other, brother. No. Hey, showbiz, man. Hey, we're tight. We'll be tight, man, forever. Me and you know, and you know how I feel about you and your family and all the old timers, man. You know, I got so much love in my heart, man. And for the new kids, hey, you know, that's just me, you know. Man, I hug everybody, man. You know, I never met a stranger, you know, and that's just how I am, you know. And brother, again, I've known you just since a young boy, and man, to watch your whole career, I'm just so proud of you, and I know it's you and Mom now, and God bless you too, and man, thanks, but you didn't have to explain nothing, brother. Hey, 'cause next time I see you, I'll go hug your neck. I wanted to tell you, what that happened. And in fact, my sponsor, the one that brought me in, he went with us, because it just hit me, boy, and I don't know what it was, and I couldn't wait, and I wanted to see that so bad, because I even talked to you earlier that day, and I just couldn't wait, but I didn't know if you was on late, and I said, honey, I'm just shaking, I got the chills,
yeah,
and I had to. Yes, sir. Well, see, I couldn't have made it, man. I had to go. I went early, son. I didn't hear one thing. After we ate, I just got deathly sick, just boom, out of nowhere, and that's exactly what happened, brother. But you didn't have to explain nothing, son, because hey, I'll hug your neck, man, because I know, brother, me and you, nothing could ever come or between you, your family, or nothing.
I feel much better anyway. I feel like
I do too. I do too, because I was wanting to tell you, what happened, because because the next day, I set up that next morning, and stayed till 5, and all day, and I couldn't. I kept looking. I said, man, did Lanny go home, or he must be set up somewhere else, and I didn't leave the table, and I just wanted to tell you exactly what happened, because everybody told me, hey, man, he put you over, that Randy, man, you've meant so much to him and helped him so much, and bop, and then he told me what you said, and I laughed, because I know, brother, brother, man. It's all good, son.
Okay, fantastic. And I'll tell you what, I'll send you an email.
Yes.
With a video which is unlisted, because I don't want everybody to see it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Of my speech, so you can see exactly what I said about you and the reaction of the crowd.
Oh, I know. I know. It's the biggest pop of the night, man. Hey, I'm with it, brother. No, it was worth all that. But I'm sorry I missed out, and I love to see that. Thank you. Hey, please send that, please, and I won't. It'll be just right here, private. Yes, sir.
Hey, listen, guys, I didn't mean to hog the interview, but
no, not at all.
It's great.
Get that off my chest.
Thank you. Hey, Lanny, I love you. Yes, give my love to Mom, man, and God bless. Hey, have a great life, son.
Oh, God bless you, and thank you on behalf of my brother and my father. Thank you for the memories.
Thank you, sir. God bless. Same here.
God bless.
God bless. Thank you. Bye.
Wow,
man, what a surprise, brother. Wasn't that wonderful?
Yes, it was.
That was definitely one of the greatest moments, I can say, in the almost 2 years that I've had my show. And
yes,
I can't,
God bless.
I've been speaking with Lanny. We planned a surprise when I told him that you were coming on. He said, I got to call. I got to call in. I'm going to call in. I love Jimmy. I've got something I want to tell him. He's got to hear it. I said, please call, please. I think he'll get a kick out of it.
Wonderful. That was wonderful.
We just sit back, and we were just like, myself and Austin were just like two kids in the candy store, just enjoying two legends talking about the good old days, and it was just an amazing moment. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you, brother, man. Hey, listen, and again, brother, I just had a tooth pulled, man, and we've been talking an hour, and I'm going to have to ease on out myself again, and but God bless you, and tell Lanny, man, and again, and I'll talk to him on the email. But hey, yes, Austin and Felix, please keep my number, and if I can ever do anything for you, I'd love to do your show. Whenever, just let me know, brother, man, please.
Absolutely. You know what? We'll have you come back on and do a part 2 somewhere down the line. You know what? For hanging in there for an hour with a toothache and just having tooth work done, you're a trooper. God bless you. We can't thank you enough. It is an extreme honor just to have you both on at the same time, let alone just yourself, because yourself, a WWE Hall of Famer, 50 years in the business, got more than enough stories to share a lot, for a lifetime. And we definitely would love to have you come back for a part 2 somewhere down the line. Well, I'll get with you, and we'll make it happen.
Thank you so much. God bless you. And again, man, what a thrill to talk to Lanny. And God bless you and Austin and your show. And this is, woo, I said Boogie Woogie, man, feel good. I'll tell my people, all my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss this Felix and show, brother, man. God bless. Love you, brother. Thank you so much. God bless everybody.
God bless you, too. Bye-bye.
Thank you, son. God. Bye.
Oh my goodness, that was so much fun. That was so much fun. Nate is going to really be kicking. He's going to be kicking himself for missing the show.
Well, I mean,
he's going to be really kicking himself. But I don't know what can you say after this.
How can you
is there anything that can really to be said about this?
No, there's no way you can top something like that. I mean, Lanny Poffo and Jimmy Valiant two legends in professional wrestling, which is probably the biggest understatement of the year. I mean, having two of these guys on at the same exact time and how it was planned and how everything just came together. Like I said, special moments don't happen like that too often.
No, they don't. And you know what? I really could feel as much pain as Mr. Valiant was in. I'm pretty sure his eyes and his face lit up when he heard Lanny's voice, because he shares a very special relationship with the Poffo family, and you'll see once you get that book.
I know it's amazing, and just how Jimmy Valiant is. I mean, WWE Hall of Famer, and he has, like you said earlier when he's talking to Lanny, he's never met a stranger, and he definitely didn't treat us like strangers. I mean, from point on, he was, mercy daddy. Jimmy Valiant here. I love him so much, and I actually have his DVD. Michael Elliott, like I said, Elbow Productions. .weebly.com. You actually
get that book,
for $10.
Get it, because you know what? He will autograph it for you. He will send you a special message. I'm telling you, it's worth the buy if you can.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, Michael Elliott coming out with the Ivan Koloff one in a couple of months, and I seen the cover last night, and my God, is it? I mean, so good. And like we said earlier, I mean, these legends grace Pipebomb Radio, every other week, and you don't have special moments like we just had tonight. Well, I'm not saying tonight. I feel like it's 10 p.m. right now. It's actually around 5 o'clock where I'm at, and just an overall amazing show. I know everybody listening in is I had to be impressed.
Well, you know what? We may not have everybody listening in that we normally do because we're not on at the normal time today. But you know what? When we have such a huge name and a bona fide Hall of Famer, he's wrestled the greats from pretty much every generation. Bruno Sammartino. He's wrestled in the 80s. He wrestled against the King, Jerry Lawler. He's training. He's giving back. Like you said, he's invited people. He literally invited everybody listening to come out if they're in Virginia, Shawsville, Virginia, to come out and check out his show for free.
With a guy
where he
like
sees his boys training.
Over, 50 years of experience. I mean, that's spanning over 20 decades. Not 20 decades. What is it?
It's 5 decades.
5, that's what I said. Stop correcting me, Felix. No, just kidding. No, but speaking of Nate Milton, what's funny about him is that he missed this interview, and like you said earlier, when you miss something, and like this, and you miss, and you kind of do stuff to other people, and try to miss out on this, karma is a bitch. And let me tell you,
you better not say that next week.
Next week on Pipebomb Radio, karma will get after Nate, because we got Awesome Kong, Kia Stevens on the air next week on Pipebomb Radio, and my God, I fear Nate. I fear his what happened, his resolution. What's going to happen to Nate next week? I don't know.
Whether you know her as Awesome, Amazing, she's Awesome Kong, she's Amazing Kong, she's known as Karma. Bottom line, she is Kia Stevens, and she has been dominating the women's wrestling pretty much anywhere she's going. She's got a match coming up against, of all people, when I seen this post, I had to mention it. She's going to be wrestling Lady Tapa at WrestleCade. I don't remember the date.
That's a dream match. We talked about that actually last year when we had Lady Tapa on the show, former guest on Pipebomb Radio. We were talking about dream matches. Awesome Kong was one of her top 5 dream matches that she wanted to have, because she knew that one day they would cross paths. But like crossing paths comes, to light. Nate Milton, what goes around comes back around, and Kia Stevens will be on here next week, Pipebomb Radio. 10 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. What is it? 8 p.m.
No.
PST, right?
Hold on.
Oh, the wrong time.
Yeah,
Special start time again.
We'll do, but it's a little later than normal. We're going to be doing it at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. For special guests, we make special arrangements. Karma is a very special guest. We were scheduled to have her at one point. Things didn't work out, but as promised, she's coming. She's coming for you. And please don't make this woman mad, because she will hurt you, and hurt you bad. That being said, the WrestleCade is November 29th. Definitely a good way to promote this upcoming dream match, as you called it. She'll be wrestling Lady Tapa, WrestleCade in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And got a lot to talk about. You know, whether you knew her in TNA, and she dominated. She was one of the people that helped build the knockout division. Whether you knew her in her brief run as Karma, she definitely left an impact. She was there for a very short time. But you know what? She left an impact. People have been begging and pleading for her to come back to WWE. She's not ready yet. She doesn't feel ready to return yet. And you know what? We can even address that next week.
Yeah, I mean, one big thing that she actually did, she's actually one of the few women that entered the Royal Rumble. If you remember back in 2012, I believe. 2012 or 2013, one or the other.
No, it was 2012,
she actually came in, and Michael Cole thought he can stand a chance against Karma. And like I said, what goes around comes back around. When you try to stand up against a person like Kia Stevens, you're not going to last too long.
And she literally did what is the name of her finisher that she called it?
Oh my God, I forgot. I don't know. I'm not sure.
She did it to Dolph Ziggler.
What was
Implant Buster. That's the one.
But I'm sure there was a name for it. There's a catchy name for it. I can't remember exactly what it is. But I'm sure it revolves around Karma. I mean, that's what happens when you mess with somebody.
Well, unless she's named it something else. That's what they called it in TNA. Implant Buster. But we got Miss Karma coming. She's coming, folks. You definitely don't want to miss it, because she hasn't done interviews in a while, and we're one of the first ones to get her, so you don't want to miss out. And the surprises keep on coming, because we will announce another big guest coming to Pipebomb Radio later next month, I should say, because we're finishing out September. We're starting October, effective tomorrow. But big surprises coming. Nate, you are missing out, pal. You missed out on an amazing interview with two amazing people. You know what? We didn't even have to talk. We just sat back and just listened. It was amazing. I'm just happy we were able to make it happen on here. Thanks to both Lanny and to Jimmy for just giving us their time.
It's
just giving us their time
already.
to reminisce about the good old days and their families and so forth.
Definitely. I mean, it freaks me out right now thinking about it that October is next month. It just felt like September started a week ago. And we'll probably be, in November, December is, quick as a snap. It's crazy. The year's almost done, and I know we actually have some really special things planned for the start of the year, 2015, January.
We're working on it. But you know what? I'm gonna also throw out there for those of you guys who catch the shows Thursday nights, Oscar and Mo, where they're going to be welcoming former WCW manager Sonny Ono to the show. They will be talking to him about his run in WCW for making selfies cool before they were really cool. He was all about selfies back then, and he had a stable. He had a stable of people with him, both female and male, and he had all the gold at one point.
Just name a few.
Think about it. If you see pictures, he held all kinds of gold.
You talk about Awesome Kong. He actually managed a person that she said she had the opportunity to train with, Miss I'm trying to remember her name. I was talking about her yesterday. It's she's from Japan.
Aja Khan?
No, it's I can't remember exactly. It's I hate that I can't remember.
Bull Nakano?
Yes, Bull Nakano. Yeah, her. And Awesome Kong had the opportunity to train with her just a little bit, and from Japan. And Sonny Ono trained her, and basically not trained her. Sonny Ono brought her into WCW. Yeah, worked with her, and did the same thing to other people like Psychosis and Ultimo Dragon.
Ultimo Dragon.
Brought him in from Japan to WCW kind of to have the bridge, that gap between the two companies, and kind of serve as a translator for those who couldn't really speak English.
He's been friends with Eric Bischoff for a number of years too.
Still is.
I'm talking about Sonny Ono, of course. I'm sorry.
Yes. And Sonny's great. We actually had him on towards the beginning of this year, and I mean, what a great guy. I mean, he's a very vibrant person.
I definitely think Oscar and Mo are going to pull out all the stops to make sure he feels comfortable and have fun, and they just keep on rolling. These guys definitely have been a huge hit. People have definitely been tuning in, and the numbers have continued to grow on their show, and we're proud of them. They had a rough start, but you know what? They're taking it to new heights, and whatever they're doing now, it's working. Let me tell you, it's working. So keep it up, guys. Those of you guys who tune in Thursday nights, you guys are in for a treat. But we got Miss Kong coming. She's coming, and well, I think. Well, you know what? I'll throw out a question to you because I know we usually talk about it for a few minutes. What were your thoughts on Monday Night Raw? The whole get up with making Dean Ambrose the number 2 good guy in the company. I mean, he had a lot. He was basically the star of the show last night, really.
Well, basically, I always knew that Dean Ambrose was going to have his day. Being the type of person and character he is, he kind of really, you noticed at the beginning of the Shield, he never was really that as maniacal as he is now. He obviously, grown, took some time to come out of his. I mean, he never really had a shell. He's kind of broke out of it, when he was born. Immediately, and I can bet. I mean, he's not a normal person. Dean Ambrose is a maniac. He's a lunatic fringe, and he's amazing what he does.
I don't understand what that means exactly.
Well, basically, actually, it's a tribute to a radio show in Cincinnati called the Lunatic Fringe. I can't say lunatic. Well, I just said it, so I proved myself. But Dean Ambrose is amazing what he does, and I know for the coming years in WWE is going to be safe with him because he knows exactly what to do, and he's one of those guys that, you rarely have that intangible feeling where, Stone Cold Steve Austin had it where he wasn't good, but he wasn't bad. The fans just liked him. He basically went to the beat of his own drum, just like Dean Ambrose, but what Dean Ambrose does to his drums is really just destroys them and hits other people with the drums that he, toots his own horn to, whatever. I just mixed it up, but same thing, tomato, and Dean Ambrose, like he did with Seth Rollins last night, basically took the Money in the Bank thing and put like a slime, and it kind of reminded me of an episode of Nickelodeon in the early days when they had the slime shows, and Seth Rollins got really mad, and Dean Ambrose was smiling, and just overall good episode of Raw. I really enjoyed it, and we've seen Hulk Hogan meet a return to talk about the Susan B. Komen for the Cure campaign they do every single October, the pink everything, and I believe it's 100% of the proceeds go to the cause by going to WWEshop.com and donating whatever you have, and you can actually get some cool T-shirts with the some of your favorite superstar designs on it.
Awesome. What did you think about the Hulkster being on there?
Oh, I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't know it was exactly for that message. I thought he was going to come out and make an announcement about something else. But like I said, it was for the Susan B. Komen thing. Yeah, Hulkster's always cool to see.
Well, I was wondering too because lately they haven't really been using him, and I'm wondering, are they going to use him for anything? I mean, here lately he's been what's the word I want to use? He's been the spokesperson, I guess you could say, for the WWE Network. Ambassador, that's a better word, for the WWE Network. And, well, I guess that's about it. I mean, do you think there's ever going to be a real possibility at 61 years of age that he'll hop back in the ring and have another match?
Well, that's what I'm hoping to see at WrestleMania 31. I don't see John Cena having a championship title match. I think they're saving that for Brock, right now, and I might. There's a chance I believe we might see him and Hulk in the ring, but there's also a chance we might see Sting and Undertaker in the ring. So I think the time for dream matches is now, if there's ever going to be one.
Well, that's another reason I want to throw out, too, is WWE would be silly. They would be so silly to not jump on a moment to grab Kurt Angle, bring him back for one last run, and let him retire with them. He made himself a big star with them before anything else. Of course, he took TNA to new heights. Not going to say he hasn't. But, I mean, he really became established in WWE.
And that's what I'm hoping that
why not bring him back and let him
Devon
retire there? Take advantage of the opportunity to have so many dream matches, like you said.
Yes.
Him against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, can you imagine?
Amen to the highest. Cannot even say that's probably, like I'm saying, the time for dream matches, I think WrestleMania 31 should be that time for the dream matches. I mean, Brock has his title, and I don't believe anybody's going to take it from him until WrestleMania. But, you have John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Sting, The Undertaker. There's so many possibilities. Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan. What I'm hoping, and like you said with Kurt Angle, he should retire in WWE because that's where he started and kind of got his fame, there in his glory. But Team 3D is another team that I want to retire in WWE. I believe, Team 3D, they still have a lot of juice in them. They can always go. And I believe they have some awesome tag team matches in the future of WWE right now. The Usos, the very odd team of starting Goldust. The list goes on. I believe they can have an awesome return to WWE and still do good. And maybe even win those tag titles one more time.
I'm not going to say I don't want it because I do. If there was ever a moment to do it and make it a one good year of 2015, of one big final hurrah for a lot of these guys that were huge names during their eras, I just don't know about the Dudley Boys, Team 3D, whatever you want to know them as. Only reason being is because, and if I'm wrong, okay, I will admit it, but from what I remember, and I've heard this talked about many times, is that Bully Ray, Bubba Ray, whatever the hell you want to call him, he really soured a lot of people on just the kind of person he was. He was really a hard ass, a real prick, if you will, during his run in WWE, and it soured a lot of people on him. And although they loved Devon, they didn't care for him. And that's why I said, Vince, if he sees money, he'll do it. Triple H has a little bit more power. I don't know if he'll do it. And I'm not saying Triple H is a bad businessman. I just, I don't know if he sees anything in a lot of these guys coming back. And it's a shame. Yes, they're old, but you know what? They still have a little bit of juice left in the tank. Let them go out on top. Have one last hurrah, entering the WWE Hall of Fame somewhere down the line. Why not?
It's bound to happen. Just like the Hardy Boys, I believe they still can do something within WWE again because they always talk about Jeff Hardy. I'm not saying that Matt isn't, as good as Jeff Hardy because I love Matt Hardy.
They were more prone to Jeff because Jeff seemed to have more of a connection to the crowd.
He kind of brings more of an atmosphere, but the thing is that the Hardy Boys, that made them such a good tag team is because Matt was more the technical wrestler that kind of took it to the mat, where Jeff was the person that technically went on top of the ropes and did some of the craziest things I've ever did. That he's ever did I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm getting my words mixed up. Jeff Hardy is the risk he took got him a lot of reward, in his career, which I think
it did, and it really kicked in during the 2009 run that he had 2007 to 2009 run that he had, because he became WWE champion. He had a lot of classic matches with some great talent, and, well, it is what it is. It happened the way it happened, but WWE's been known to forgive a lot of people. That's why I'm surprised a lot of them haven't been able to return, but who are we to say? We don't really know what really is going on, But,
you can't count on the past in order to. You have to have your future guys. But that's the thing is, the people from the past can come in, and I think they can still have an impact and make that still hold that same feeling that they might have in the past. That's what they do. I don't believe people are going to forget who people like Team 3D is or Kurt Angle. They know who Kurt Angle is definitely, and I believe Kurt Angle, like you said, can still deliver. More so than a lot of people on Earth, and he's in his 40s, isn't he?
Both of them are, really. Last thing I want to talk about before we let everybody, we go ahead and leave for the day, the night, whatever. there's been speculation about Sting, and the speculation being that could we see Sting actually wrestle more than one match? Could we see him work a little bit with the young talent, or does he really just want to have one final hurrah with The Undertaker, and that's it? Go into the Hall of Fame that same year, next year, and then maybe Undertaker retire and go into the Hall of Fame when the speculation WrestleMania 32 will be in Dallas to retire there in his home state of Texas. I don't know. I mean, there's speculation that Sting might be working with Bray Wyatt because of that cryptic tweet that he put out. Who's to say? I mean, I'm not going to overthink it, but I mean, it'd be interesting.
With Sting, I don't think there has to be. Like I said, it'd be cool to see him in a couple matches but in order for my ideal, way I want things to go, I want Sting, to come back. And as much as I do love Sting, the perfect way to do this is to come back. Don't say anything in the ring. I mean, maybe it's a couple words. There's not much that needs to be said between him and the Undertaker, and that sets up everything. Sets up everything for WrestleMania. That's it. And he can go in the Hall of Fame the same year, maybe, or the following year. But I see it happening. This is why I see it happening this year. Next year, because it's in California, and Sting's from California, and the Undertaker, no matter what, if the Undertaker beats him or Sting beats him, I'm not sure. This is the thing, because this is the first year.
It would be smart to put Undertaker over, to let him win, coming off such a loss that really traumatized a lot of people.
It doesn't matter, because over 20 years we've seen him beat every single person that steps up to the plate, and this is the one time it's going to be different, because we don't know how he's going to react because we never seen the Undertaker at all since he was defeated by Brock, on Raw, SmackDown, whatever. And this is the first time in forever.
I'm just saying what I would like
react.
to see. Who's to say what will happen? That's just what I would like to see.
We all know that Sting versus the Undertaker is the inevitable. I mean, it's going to happen. It has to happen for time to go on.
Of course. And Sting, he's going to be 56 next year, and there's no time like the present. Sting is getting older, and it's best to get him while he's still in decent ring shape. He's definitely not in his. This is not 20 years ago when he was in his prime. He is past his prime, but you know what? He has another run left in him and has juice in the tank to go. And Undertaker, you know what? I want him healthy. I want him not in any bad shape whatsoever to do this match. If he's not in 100%, I don't think it's wise to do it.
And I want to suggest everybody
where it goes.
Yeah,
what's that?
Go out and buy the new Sting DVD, because I actually bought it. A couple last week. I ordered it and it came to my door a few days ago. And my God, loaded is an understatement. They talk about how many matches are on here of his career. Start off from the Blade Runners all the way to Surfer Sting to the Crow to Wolfpack. All that's in there, and the entire case design is. That blew my mind. You had, like I said, the Wolfpack Sting on the disc, and you had the Crow and Surfer Sting. That DVD is it blows my mind how good it looks in every way, shape, or form.
Very true. I will look to get that myself very soon. But in the meantime, we have gone. My goodness, we've gone longer today than we usually do. We don't usually stay on very long, as it is usually in the evening, and our guests usually are off to go to sleep or take care of business, and we're done. We've done 90 minutes, and if Lanny and Jimmy were if Jimmy wasn't feeling so bad, they probably would have gone the whole freaking 2 hours. If you can think about that, it probably would have gone a whole other hour. I wouldn't have complained, but what a great show! Coming off a high of having two amazing people on the show, and Lanny apologized for Hong. Come anytime and talk about whatever you want with any of our guests. I think our listeners would love it. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I knew it was going to happen. It almost didn't happen. I was hoping he was able to call in, and thank God he did. But great show. We'll go ahead and call it an end tonight. Onston, did you have any final words for tonight?
That's it for me. I'm glad that the show went as planned, and everything went to even past our expectations on how good it was going to be. We knew it was going to be good, but we didn't know it was going to be that good. Jimmy Valiant definitely brings his own aura to the feeling of a of a show like Pipebomb Radio. I mean, we've had on people like Bruno Sammartino, Blackjack Morgan, Tito Santana, Kevin Von Erich, and Booker T, just to name a few. And Jimmy Valiant definitely brings his own style and profile to the Pipebomb Radio Network.
Absolutely, absolutely. On behalf of Austin and myself and Nate, man, you missed out. We're going to give you a hard time about this next week, so expect that karma coming.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, expect karma to be live with us next week as well. So, on behalf of Austin and myself for Pipebomb Radio, I will say keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Woo, mercy daddy. I had to throw that in there one more time. Wasn't that good, but you know what? I don't care. I enjoyed it. Have a good night, everybody. Good night, Austin.
Good night.
Yeah, times you gotta push through all your obstacles, you know what I mean?